Now, we need to get to Untold Stories, and this man's got so many, we're going to have to slap a few together within the one segment, but we'll start with the sting.
Gather around.
I remember a particular day.
It's the Untold Stories
You can be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like the night I ran over Andy Preston in the car park.
of footballers past.
We're going to Perth to find a legend of our game. In fact, I would argue, along with Ron Barassi, the biggest name in football.
John Todd.
A mouse.
But he is
Polly
in
Farmer.
Perth with Mouse, funnily enough. And he joins us now. I speak of the legend that is John Sammy Newman. Force, welcome to you.
Hello, lads. How are you? I'm over here. I've got cheese poisoning. I've been out with the rodent for a couple of days. Gorgonzola poisoning.
Hey, very nice news during the week that the Grand Final Footy Show is back, and yourself and Ed and Trev and even Fat here.
And you and Gary and Rebecca and Hutchie and the bloke who hosted it this year. Who was that?
No, I don't know as much about that, but I think certainly the big three, and that's going to be absolutely superb. We're looking forward to that now.
Sam, will you demand Jim comes back on it?
Yes.
A demand, and I'll ring Lewis Martin and I'll say, mate,
I think you should.
Lend him over just for the night, because I mightn't be there until we work out what they want me to do.
Brian will be in the office if you ring Lewis Martin. Trying to grease up. Now, Foss, we do this where it's Untold Stories. You've told a few of these, but we like to get you on. You're a very amusing old fella. We're going to go with one when you were playing with the Geelong Football Club.
No, we're not going to go with that, Bill. No. I'm going to tell you the most embarrassing thing that's ever occurred to me ever in my football career.
Right.
And I've told you this before, but I was commissioned. Now, I don't know what you were going to ask me then. That was about Gerard what's his name?
No. Still doesn't
That was
know
me forgetting his name, wasn't it?
No. When you were
captain.
Just to answer this one, when you were playing for Geelong, you might have been the Geelong captain, but you were living and training up in Melbourne at Hawthorn.
That's correct, yes. John Kennedy allowed me very graciously to train with the lads, and when he called them into the centre for a bit of tactical advice, he used to get me to do laps. How about that for extraordinary development in the way the game's handled?
Unbelievable. That is unbelievable. You were the captain of the Cats.
I was, Bill, yeah.
This is how long ago we're talking about football being
Mid-70s.
played. Force, is it true that at three-quarter time at Geelong, the tarpaulin, as you always call it, was brought out, and while the coach was addressing the team, a player smoked a pipe?
Tony Polinelli, a little bit of Borkham Riff in the bottom of the bowl of the pipe, and we used to sip on medium Solero sherry and a nice tawny port on the tarp, and then get up half shicker and see if we could finish the rest of the game. Now, I'm going to tell you this.
Go on then.
You will know this, but this is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in football terms. I was commissioned by Mick Malthouse to be the ruck advisor at Footscray. And I used to instruct Andrew Purser. Yes. And I used to go over to his house mid-week with the ruck tapes, edited ruck tapes, and show him and his wife, Jenny, the edited highlights. And unbeknownst to me, a perfect storm was developing, because I used to get Fred Cook to assist me in doing the edited highlights. And unbeknownst to me, Fred had a small library of some of his conquests with associates of the female gender.
Of course.
And he used to tape the ruck highlights over some of these conquests. And I, in those days, had some remedial work done on my leg and arm.
Yeah.
And that was in plaster. You sound intrepid with me going on with this.
No, just a touch edgy.
We're not nervous. We shouldn't be nervous, should we?
Well, we shouldn't be nervous, Brian. This is legendary, and it happened, and it's public knowledge. And so Fred used to tape over some of these conquests with the ruck highlights. Yes. And Mr. and Mrs. Purser Sr. had arrived from Perth to watch their son play in the first game that he'd ever played in, they'd ever seen him play. And we're sitting there, so the highlights came on, and then the tape went blank at half-time. And we were waiting as it came back on. There was a vision of Fred in some anatomically impossible positions with a couple of old steeplechases.
Thank you, Force. Yeah, we got a fair understanding. How did the Purser family take to that being on their TV?
A couple of old steeplechasers.
Yeah,
Fred had
thank
asked
you,
him for
Force.
a nightcap.
Yes. And how did they take to it?
Well, I don't know if you've ever driven your car down a lane at night and seen a deer in the headlights. They were absolutely gobsmacked. And that's the last time I ever saw Andrew, Jenny, Mr. and Mrs. Purser. It was extraordinary. I've spoken to medical people. They say it's impossible to get into those
we
positions.
appreciate that side of it, Force. We're very,
Well, I don't know why you're worried about that. That's a fact.
I know. We're aware of that, but
What are we on? What?
Broadcasting standards these days, Force, mean that we need to be a touch careful, that's all.
Well, the other story...
What about explaining something
No, it was
that's not...
beautifully explained.
It was. The other story, of course, Foss, was the great Bobby Davis when he was down at Geelong. Was he told to go out to the grammar and have a look at the boy at the grammar? Is that true? And did he come out and actually recruit you?
Geez, we've tamped this down a fraction. I had some of my best stuff left for that.
Of course you did.
Story.
Of course you
had
did.
Some of my very best stuff left for that. So what's that Dorothy Dixer, Bill? Bobby Davis. Bobby Davis.
The thing about Sam, he's
Bobby,
all
what's that,
over
Bobby?
us.
Yes.
Holy shit. No, Bobby came out and just came to a 4-point skid at the outside the oak tree there as I just kicked my 18th goal at centre.
18th goal.
What?
18th.
Yeah, 18th against Scott.
Scott!
And he said, "You better come into the football club and have a kick with us." So in I went, and that's the end of that story. I can give you some other very, 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 very weak stories about how I forgot Gerald Fitzgerald's name when I was the umpires. Well, now, I mean, there's many of them, but the Andrew Purser one stands alone.
We appreciate your enjoyment of that one, Force. Very, very nice. How long are we in Perth for, please?
Well, until my patience runs out with the rodent. Mouse is possibly the most annoying little man I've ever met, but he's diligent, I'll give him that, and he's studious, and I've got a feeling he's honest, but I'm not sure how much he rips off me in the week I'm over here. But we're going up to the mines later on in the week, and so she's all abuzz over here because the State of Origin Rugby League game is over here on the weekend. And the Perth Glory are playing Manchester United over here, and then Man U are playing Liverpool over here. So it's huge. It's huge in Perth at the minute.
All right, Force. Well,
and Mr. and Mrs.
love
Purser,
chatting to you.
Spoken to Mr.
The Purser.
That's it. No, we love that, Force, and always good of you to jump on.
Never seen a person assume
Oh, no.
Oh, the
He's
Foss.
got his eye in.
Oh, and he won't be
there.
happy.
No, of course he
With us.
won't. But it doesn't matter.
Yes.
He does as he's
We've
told.
saved our jobs.
Well, every now and then he does as he's told.
Exactly.